Hello, everyone, and welcome to or back to allergy season. No, well, yes, that's right. It actually is allergy season, and I am going through my annual allergies, or more like monthly allergies, or maybe even weekly allergies, because it's allergy season, and I don't know what's in the air, but every time it starts getting close to spring, I start getting a stuffy nose. I start feeling like kind of sluggish, or maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe that's what it is. But welcome to or back to One Inspiring Word. I'm your host, and today we are going to be talking a bit of Shakespeare. But before we get into that, we're going to go to the one inspiring word. Whoosh. That was supposed to be a transition. Okay, so the one inspiring word for this week is stucco, because we just had stucco elections, and it really stood out to me. So we have a student council for each grade. I'm not sure what other schools do. And then we have another student council for the all of upper school. So the one that's for all of upper school, there's they have to run and say their speech in front of everyone, which is like really terrifying. And that's kind of why I didn't try it this year. But I watched the juniors say their speeches, and I thought it was really cool because one of them, she's really great, and she talked about how like she'd been dreaming about this moment her whole life, and she's definitely like she's amazing and a really good speaker, and had like, a really amazing speech. But the one inspiring word for this week because I thought about that too. Like I've wanted to give a speech like that, and everyone has dreams like that, and I kinda just, like I kinda wanna be like her, and also, like, there's people out there, I feel like, that you just want, like, to see yourself, like, kinda like them, and, like, I've thought about that too. I've been like, "Wow, this, like, person that's younger than me, they remind me a lot of me." But enough of that. First, let me tell you about something that happened this week. So there's a lot of TikTok trends, and sometimes I'm, like, not a big fan of TikTok trends because like, they require pranking someone, and, that happened to me this week. So, I remember, like, there was one a while back, and it was, like, the "Give me my money" trend, and basically, you have a bunch of people, and they say, "Give me my money," and then you clap for everyone except for the last person, and so basically, like, the last person gets pranked. Like, it's the kind of prank that's, like, it's not harmful, it's just, like, humiliating. Harmful to, like, the ego, and so this happened to me, oh my goodness, and then so I don't really know how to feel about this, but basically, I don't know how popular it is, but basically, everyone makes up a word, and so it's, like, some made up word, like shaboinky or like well, mine was chonga chonga. And then so everyone gets to go. And then so my definition, I don't know, I was chewing on a mint when this was happening. So I was just like I was like, "Oh, it's when you like have like a hard piece of candy and then you like chew on it." And so whenever I said my word, and I should have known because like one of the girls she couldn't like think of her words, so I was like, "Oh, I can go." And then they're like, "No." But and then I said my word, and then so the prank is that you pretend it's like a really bad word, and it's like a slur, and then so I've kind of freaked out, and then like other people like played along because I didn't believe it at first, and then like they're like, no, you can't say that, and then I was like saying my definition because I was like, no, I'm not gonna let them stop me from saying my definition, and then like I started believing them, and so I left that class. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing, and then I found out that like it's not a Norwegian slur. So, yeah. Anyway, I should have known better. But you just like when someone asks you to be in like a TikTok or something, you're like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." I mean, like that sounds so cool. And like, I don't know. Got duped. But now, without further ado, let's get into some Shakespeare. Cause I bet this didn't happen to Shakespeare. So I haven't read a lot of Shakespeare, but I've gotten to a point where like I've met all of the characters and the story. Okay, so I'm reading A Midsummer's Night's Dream for English. And so it's out of the point of view of like three different kind of people, if I can say that. There's the carpenters, or I think that's what they're called, and they're basically helping run a play. And then there's the fairies, and they're just the fairies. And then there's the lovers, which is really interesting. So a few notes about this. First, A Midsummer's Night's Dream, it's like a comedy and it's supposed to be really funny, except it's also written in how they talked back then. So it's kind of hard to see, what's comedic and what's not cuz I can't really understand most of the script. But I have been using Shakespeare translator. I actually didn't know it was a thing, but I searched it up and it is a thing. And it's been very helpful. But basically with comedies, there's a certain genre and they always end in a marriage. And I think Shakespeare did a really good job, or maybe I just can't understand. But I like can't tell who's gonna get married. There's like four different people that I can picture getting married. And which is good because that means it's unexpected and it's unpredictable. But I would like to read you something from the first scene. So there's 5 scenes. So I won't be spoiling anything big. But it's from this girl named Helena. And so basically there's kind of a love square, which is so interesting. I don't think I've ever been to love square. Thank goodness, because that's just like super complicated. Because a square has like 4 sides, and that's like so that's just scary. Like, no. But there's a love square, and so Helena is the best friend of this other girl named Hermia. And Hermia is in love with this guy named Lysander. But Hermia, she's kind of like the main character. She's in love with Lysander, and her dad is like, "No, I want you to marry Demetrius." And Demetrius, he's not like in love with Hermia, I think, because it's like kind of weird. I think like my English teacher just said he just is there for like to just like for social stuff. Like he wants to basically like if their families get married, it's like socially beneficial for both of them. And so that's why he's in love. But like I think but Helena is in love with Demetrius. And so that like I okay, first Helena and Hermia, like if Helena was my friend, I just no. No. She's just not the best friend. Like she's not a great friend. But like I feel like back in I haven't read like a book that Shakespeare has written where like he's really depicted what like having a good friend. Actually, I'm not going to say that cuz what do I know? But basically Helena's in love with Demetrius, like I said, and she has a lot of dialogue, which is really kind of famous because she says a lot of lines. And I at first I didn't like her because she like yeah, she's kind of jealous, which I guess I would be too, and she's upset, and Hermia comes up with this plan, um, with Lysander, and then she tells Demetrius because she wants him to like her. No. Okay? But there is I'm just gonna read some of her lines about love. So this is right when she's revealing how like she's jealous of Hermia. Okay. How happy some or other some can be. Though through Athens I'm thought as fair as she. But what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all but he do know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities. Things base and vile, holding no quantity. Love can transform to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Nor hath love's mind of any judgment taste, wings and no eyes, figure unheedy haste, and therefore is love said to be a child, because in choice he is so oft beguiled, as waggish boys in games themselves forswear, so the boy love is perjured everywhere. For ere Demetrius looked on Hermia's eyne, he hailed down oaths that he was only mine. And when this hail some heat from Hermia felt, so he dissolved, and showers of oaths did melt. I will go tell him of fair Hermia's flight, then to the wood will he tomorrow night pursue her. And for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But herein mean I to enrich my pain, to have a sight thither and back again. So I definitely mispronounced a bunch of things, but that's a little bit about some of her dialogue. And she has a lot of dialogue that's like really interesting. I think she's a really complex character because like, she has all these human emotions, and you kinda wanna hate her, but the way she delivers them, it's, like, really beautiful, and you're like, "Wow, that was pretty good, Helena." She also has a few lines where she's talking to Hermia, and then she's like, "Why does he like you?" And then Hermia's like, I frown upon him, yet he loves me still." And then Hermia's like, "I give him curses, yet he gives me love." And then Hermione's like, "The more I hate, the more he follows me." And then Helena, she's like, "The more I love, the more he hateth me." So I think it's really interesting and it's really pretty. He did a really great job. It's just that it's kind of hard to read from like an ordinary person, but I'm excited to get into it. And Helena, things are definitely gonna happen. And yeah, I see why, like, so Shakespeare's really interesting because there's a lot of phrases and a lot of words that he actually made up and now that are used in like the daily English language. Like the word uncomfortable. He created that, which is crazy to me. And it's really cool. And the thing about literature is that a lot of the times I find myself like I have a lot of conceptions about things. But then I never make the first step to actually learn about these things, like Shakespeare. Like I hear so much about like Romeo and Juliet, but I didn't read it until last year. And so I think the important part about reading and like getting to know things and how you feel about things is just taking the first step to actively like interact and understand them. And so that's why we're here today. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Keep on reading and being yourself. And don't forget, you matter. What you say matters. Everything you do matters. Because you are super important and amazing and valuable. And one inspiring word out. Adios!